representing Ebubeagu and today, just like every other day, under our segment of education and scholarship, we are here at AE-FUNAI to see our prestigious, newly elected SUG-President of FUNAI in the person of Agbo Solomon, and he is here. It's a very wonderful moment so far to be here in his office. Please, good morning.
Good morning.
Before now, we've heard a lot about your miraculous emergence and so other things. We want to know you in person, right from the horse's mouth. We want to know who you are behind these ceremonious information flying up and down. In a few minutes, please.
Thank you very much. I am glad that you're here to share my experience and as well my journey so far.
Okay.
I remember my humble self, Agbo Solomon Ikechukwu, the student of AE-FUNAI, Sociology, 400 Faculty of Social Sciences.
Okay, I want to know where you're from. Are you an indigene? Are you from Ikwo? Are you an Ebonyian, Nigerian? Are you from the eastern part of Nigeria? I want to know where you are from, is that?
Alright, I am from Ebonyi State, Ohaukwu local government to be precise. Zambo is my hometown. I talk about from the southeastern part of Nigeria.
Wow, that's a very beautiful one. Information reaching us shows that this is not your first time of being in student politics. You're presently the vice chairman of the National Association of University Students of one state. Amongst other things, we would want to hear from you. So, we want to know your journey so far in student unions and politics and the other ones that you might want to tell us.
Thank you very much for this wonderful question. I started my student leadership from secondary school, where I happened to be all-time class prefect from JS1 to SS2.
Wow.
When I contested among 3 persons, and at the end of the day, I made as the 9th senior prefect of St. Michael's Secondary School in Zambo. And beginning from there, I've assumed a lot of student leadership position. I was once elected senator and the Senate President of National Association of SUG Students. In 2019, I was elected a senator to represent my faculty, that's Faculty of Management and Social Sciences, then the Students' Union Government, which happens to be the SUG-President today. Just like you mentioned, I am the current vice chairman, National Association of University Students, Campus Monitoring Committee, Ebonyi State Chapter, and among other things that I've assumed as students.
That's a wowing one. Before now, we had information that there was an election conducted before the new one, and there were so many oppositions more likely to have emerged, and it was as if your victory was an unexpected victory. Money up here, money down there, campaigns even from celebrities who took out time to campaign for some of your colleagues, or rather opposition parts. We want to know what the journey so far has been. Did you see this emergence coming? Was it a breakthrough that the first election didn't hold water? We want to hear the story from you.
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that my victory is divine, because what happened wouldn't have returned me as the SUG president of this great institution. But just like they always say, in everything you put God first. I've always prayed to God why I work as an individual, as a human. So the election was truncated as a result of violence that occurred on the 9th of March 2019. I contested among 3 persons. One of them is my very good friend, Ekwueme Emmanuel, who is from Enugu State and from Faculty of Engineering. The other person is also my very good brother, which is SUG-President Ikechukwu, from Faculty of basic medical sciences, and is also from Ebonyi State here. And it has not been, it wasn't an easy one, I must have to attest, because knowing fully well that I am a student, and there have been this propaganda that Faculty of Social Science will always emerge or produce the SUG-President. There was a gang up, let me borrow the word gang up, to ensure that Faculty of Management and Social Science did not produce the next SUG-President. But I was able to pass through the journey because, one, I believed in my will. I had the will, and I was directly campaigning with my content to students. So I had the student by my majority of the students by my side, irrespective of the money spent from my colleagues who were contesting with me. I never at any point felt weak. I was strong from the one after the disruption. In the history of SUG election, if the election is being disrupted, there's no how you will be returned, because a lot of propaganda, a lot of things will happen. But I saw it as divine, that it's something that God wants to happen. And when the election was called on the 19th May, at the end of the day, miraculously, just like people who always say,
Wow.
I made that the third elected SUG-President AE-FUNAI.
That's a very wonderful one. And I believe you would tell us about this high, evaluated, glorified AE-FUNAI and why it's such a big deal to be an SUG president. I'm sure if the school does not have glory left in it, you wouldn't have to go through all the stress to become the SUG president. So I want you to tell us about the school, the management. Do you think there's a whole lot of work for you to do, or if your predecessors have done wonderfully well, and how the running departments possibly won't have a sneak into what is really going on in AE-FUNAI presently, if you would permit?
Thank you. Let me start by describing my university as a world-class university in view.
Okay.
The management, starting from the past administration to present, has been doing marvelously well to ensure that that vision comes to actualization. And I must tell you that we are so early news. In all spheres, we'll be representing well and we'll keep representing. This is as a result of the good synergy and the good relationship and the support we're getting from the school management. As God may have it, the third Vice Chancellor is a seasoned administrator, and since his assumption of office, he has been working tirelessly to ensure that the pace at which this university is growing is at its best. And so far, so good. We've enjoyed good relationships with management.
So what you're trying to tell us, and the word at large, is that your school is too fast in pace, like you're still moving the way you ought to. Okay, that will bring us to the fact that before now there were some controversies about your past and present VC and his emergence, and coincidentally, I would want to say, you're from the same community with the VC. Please, can you tell us about that? Is it just coincidence, or he played a large morsel of your emergence?
Surprisingly, the present VC is from the same local government with me, but not from the same town. He's from Mumbo, I'm from Izambo. As God may have it, I never met with this vibrant man until the day of my inauguration. That's the most shocking aspect of it.
So it was just coincidence?
It was just a coincidence, because that was one of the reasons why people were campaigning against me, that how can the same Vice Chancellor and the SUG-President come from the same local government? But I never met him for once until the day he inaugurated us. And he announced it, he said it before the university management, and that was my first time of having a handshake with him. So
Okay.
I think it was a coincidence, and everything worked the way God planned.
I love this coincidence. I hope to experience this sometime soon. Well, before we talk about that, I would want you to tell us about this new propounded law about not too young to rule in the government, about youth coming out to embrace politics, and we are seeing a lot of them doing wonderfully well. I want to know if Ebonyi state government is really helping young politicians like you, and how it has been so far within your short time in office. Do you think you really enjoy your stay in terms of politics, not just seeing AE-FUNAI in the field rather?
Alright, not too young to run is a very beautiful one, but I must have to express my disappointment over the attitudes of the present emerging leaders of today's Nigeria. The attitude towards leadership is not encouraging.
How is that?
What I mean is not encouraging is that if you must have to change something, you have to begin with you.
Okay.
You have to begin with you. You have to begin with you. The attitude you display, how you treat issues matters. If you are saying that the past administration has not done well, what are your ideas? What are you contributing to the present administration before you even begin to think of coming up to occupy a certain position? Not what you gain. But the present youth, majority of them are after what they are going to gain, not what they are going to contribute. So not too young to rule is a very wonderful one. And in Ebonyi State, they have been trying their best, because when you come to the national Ebonyi State House of Assembly, let me use my own constituency as an example. During the primaries and all that, we stood our ground and said that a youth will represent us. And today he's there and he's doing well. That's an affirmation that if we give other young youths the opportunity to do, they will do well. So I think we should encourage ourselves more, and as well advocate for more inclusion of young youth in governance.
Coincidental, Mr. President. It's interesting actually to find out from research that you had opportunity to move out of the shores of this country and Africa as a continent. We want to know what took you out there in the first place, and within the space of how long did you stay, and how was the experience like?
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, you are not far from the truth. Sometime in 2019, that's lately 2019, around December, I was opportune to be nominated for Erasmus Plus exchange program, and it's being sponsored by the European Union. So I was the only person that was selected, and it's from Nigeria.
That's a very good
My school, to be precise, was championed by, or the person spearheaded by Professor Afanichitma, who is the Erasmus coordinator in Nigeria. So I was opportune to travel to the United Kingdom and the University of Kent, to be precise, Canterbury campus. And within my stay, I was meant to undergo a course with the School of Sociology, Social Research and Social Policy, where I studied 4 different modules that also related to 30 European Union credit system. At the end of the day, I passed all the courses.
That's a very good one.
I was awarded the ECT, that is a European System Credit Transfer Unit, credit as it's being called. And I think they have sent my certificate anyway to the university as an international mobility certificate. And then I spent 8 weeks, that's from January 2020 to August 2020.
So how was the experience like, comparing it to our Nigerian education system And what you had there?
It was an amazing experience because within that period, the novel coronavirus and the shutdown of the international activities happened, and just like their own system, educational system, we were not interrupted. They moved from physical meeting to electronic teachings, both exam, assignment, everything. Even if you want to have one-on-one conversation with your convener or what we call lecturer here, you can schedule a meeting with the person through meeting app or Zoom and other app being designed by the university. So we did not receive any interruption except the physical meeting. However, there are some challenges because there was lockdown and people were meant not to gather in groups. As if you are caught, you're going to pay a certain amount of fine, which that's the only challenge I had. About the culture and the environment, very beautiful. You have your security 24 hours, you are free to go anywhere, and as well, you interact with people who share culture. I must have to say that it was a very wonderful experience. The culture, sure, wasn't a bit much.
Okay, that's a very interesting one to hear. I would want to know what and how you want to imbibe what you were taught over there, having passed all the courses you were, or modules like you put it, you were taught. How would you want to relate and marry it to your present administration within your time in office here?
I've started negotiation. I was in touch with the director of operation and logistics, Books to Africa International, where I happened to undergo 3 months voluntary work. I was inducted into the board of ambassadors. So the essence of doing this is to step down some of these benefits to Nigeria, and they also indicated interest to partner with us, and that the coordinator of this Erasmus program in our school here, who is now the Vice Chancellor of Edo State University, Professor Alfanichi. I'm also discussing with him on how we can make this benefit to other students, and as well bring some other international scholarships to enhance the development of our students in no distant time. It's one of my targets in this administration.
That's a very brilliant and beautiful one coming from our own very prestigious and coincident SUG-President AE-FUNAI. Please, before we call it a wrap today at our segment of education and scholarship and Ebubeagu.com, we would want to know your advice for young aspiring youths like you and I who want to clinch into power and be there at the corridor and do everything they want to do within the space of time they are portioned out to them.
Well, I must have to give the formula that is working for me. One, you should know what you want. You get started. You have to be consistent, and as well get mentors. Because if I want to become a good writer, I should have somebody behind me that will nurture me to know what writing skills are all about. So getting mentor, be consistent and know what you want. That's the best formula for me. And I want to as well urge young youth to reduce the level of money making syndrome, because that's the challenge we are facing. A lot of people want to get rich quick without getting started, without being developed. So let them remove that mindset of getting money without working for it. They should work for money, and you can have. There's one of what my mentor taught me: getting second address. If you want to become a billionaire, you can just take within a week. just have to start developing yourself from one step to another. At a certain point, people will be looking for them to hire you, and you see that those development, those investments will begin to manifest in many folds.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think that brings us to the end of today's segment of education and scholarship, and now visit to AE-FUNAI again, Comr. And I'm sure that you love this segment, and if you want more of this, you can follow us on YouTube at TV.com and Facebook at Ebubeagu.com. And love from myself and the rest of the crew. We love you, and we will keep hearing those kids that's time of love you.